The Galactic Consortium's most prestigious xenopsychologists gathered in the crystalline halls of Station Nexus, their various forms creating a bizarre menagerie of tentacles, chitinous shells, and energy fields. Dr. Zex Thalin, a renowned Vorthon, researcher whose four eyes could analyze emotional spectrums invisible to most species, stood before the assembly with barely contained excitement. Esteemed colleagues, Zex Thalin's translator rendered his complex pheromone patterns into standard galactic. Today we present our comprehensive study of human fear responses. After 3 cycles of observation, we believe we have decoded one of the galaxy's most peculiar psychological phenomena. The assembled scientists murmured their equivalent of interest. Humans had been the subject of intense study since their recent introduction to galactic society. Their unusual biology, their strange social structures, and most puzzling of all, their relationship with fear had baffled researchers across dozens of worlds. Observe. Zex Thalin activated the holographic display, showing a human child watching what their species called a horror movie. The child's biometric readings spiked, elevated heart rate, dilated pupils, stress hormones flooding the system. Note how the human actively seeks out fear stimuli for entertainment. No other species exhibits this behavior. Dr. Melkarth, a gaseous Etherian who specialized in consciousness studies, pulsed with confusion. The readings suggest genuine terror, yet the subject returns repeatedly to the same stimuli. Is this some form of masochism? We initially theorized the same, Zex Thalin replied, manipulating the display to show more data. But observe what happens when real danger presents itself. The hologram shifted to show security footage from the human colony ship Perseverance. A reactor malfunction had flooded 3 decks with lethal radiation. The display tracked the human crew's response. Fascinating, whispered Dr. Kethiulos, her crystalline form refracting the light in complex patterns. Their fear response actually decreases when facing genuine threats. The footage showed humans moving with calculated precision through the irradiated sections. Their faces showed concern, determination, even grim satisfaction, but the raw terror that had accompanied their entertainment was nowhere to be found. Chief Engineer Rodriguez, working to manually seal the reactor breach, actually seemed to be suppressing what humans called a smile. This led us to our breakthrough hypothesis, Zex Thalin continued. Humans don't fear danger. They use artificial fear as training. They are literally conditioning themselves for scenarios that would paralyze most species. The assembly fell silent. The implications were staggering. Consider their entertainment media. Zex Thalin brought up examples of human fiction, stories of invasion, apocalypse, cosmic horror, extinction events. They consume these scenarios obsessively, not despite the fear they generate, but because of it. They are psychologically vaccinating themselves against despair. Dr. Yil Hendrak, an ancient collective consciousness that had witnessed the rise and fall of 17 civilizations, pulsed with what might have been alarm. Show us the combat scenarios. The display shifted to classified military footage. Humans engaged in actual warfare against the Devourers, the nightmare entities that had torn through the outer rim systems. Where other species had fled in blind panic or frozen in catatonic terror, the humans had done something unprecedented. They had adapted. Watch carefully. Zex Thalin highlighted the biometric data. When the average devourer emerges, a creature specifically evolved to trigger primal fear responses in sentient beings, most species experience complete psychological breakdown. Humans. The footage showed a squad of human marines encountering a devourer for the first time. The creature was a writhing mass of shadows and teeth, an impossibility that hurt to perceive directly. The humans' initial response showed all the expected signs of terror, but only for approximately 2.3 seconds. Then something extraordinary happened. The fear didn't disappear. It transformed. The humans began moving with predatory precision, their terror converting into something that made even the watching scientists uncomfortable. They weaponized their fear. Dr. Melkarth's form contracted in what might have been horror. They turned it into something else. The human term is righteous fury, Zexthalon explained. When faced with something that threatens not just themselves but others they care about, their fear becomes a targeting system. It identifies the threat and then eliminates it. The footage showed the aftermath. The devourer, an entity that had consumed 3 entire worlds, lay in pieces. The humans stood over it and their expressions. By the central star, whispered Dr. Cthulhos, they're not afraid of it anymore. They've made it afraid of them. Zexthalon nodded grimly. Our psychological profiles of captured devourers show something unprecedented. For the first time in their species' existence, they exhibit fear responses. They have learned to fear humans. The assembly buzzed with agitated conversation in dozens of languages and communication methods. The implications were profound and terrifying. There's more, Zexthalon continued. We've discovered that humans don't just overcome fear, they collect it. Every horror story, every nightmare, every terrifying scenario becomes part of their psychological arsenal. They turn fear into preparation, terror into tactics. The display showed human children playing games that simulated monster attacks, teenagers telling ghost stories around campfires, adults watching films designed to terrify them. What had seemed like inexplicable behavior now revealed itself as systematic psychological conditioning. We studied human fear, Zexthalon concluded, his 4 eyes dimming with something that might have been dread. And we learned that they don't experience fear as we understand it. They experience it as reconnaissance. Every nightmare prepares them for a real encounter. Every moment of terror and safety teaches them to find opportunity in genuine danger. Dr. Yilhendrak's ancient consciousness pulsed with a query that chilled every being present. What happens when they run out of things to be afraid of? The question hung in the crystalline air like a curse. In the silence that followed, every xenopsychologist in the assembly reached the same terrifying conclusion. When humans ran out of things to fear, they would become the thing that others feared. The galaxy had studied human fear and learned that terror, in the right hands, was just another tool, and humans were very, very good with tools.